Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new review for Married at First Sight, Season 15, Episode 13. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Share with a friend. Hit that notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Now, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. 13 days until decision day. So Lindy and Miguel, we see them, and McGindy, they're still at home with the baby and whatnot. And she actually admits that he did the brunt of the parenting. Lindy is lazy. Okay. And that's just that on that. So Morgan is talking about, I'm so tired of being sad. Girl gone. And Stasha and Nate, they're doing a little self-care, aka some facials. Mitch and Kristen with the Y. So she's meeting with one of Mitch's friends, right? Her name is Stephanie. And she wants to get a little bit of information on Itchy Mitchy. So she's telling her, that, well, it's not his friend. It's his sister-in-law. Correction. And she's telling Kristen that, she struggles with Mitch as well. And especially with the way that he speaks to people and he speaks about things. And she was like, I feel like he has a hard time presenting himself. And, I have a strong personality as well. And really, we've come a long way. What I got from this conversation with Stephanie was Stephanie really wasn't saying nothing at all to help, in my opinion. She was just kind of giving excuses for his behavior. And honey, that ain't gonna fly. Okay, that's the problem now. So she did tell Kristen, though, to say what she needs and what she wants from him and don't delay saying it. Say it in the moment. Lindy and Miguel. So they're going axe throwing. Honey, I'm glad Lindy is in a good mood and whatnot, child. Because, baby, I don't trust Lindy. Lindy is nuts, honey. In that next episode, baby, she definitely going to show us a little bit of her crazy, honey. A little bit of laughter and a little bit of crazy. Moving forward. So they're throwing the axes and whatnot, honey. Miguel ain't no Paul Bunyan. I tell y'all that, baby. He ain't threw an axe and hit a target yet. Lindy, on the other hand, is one axe throwing sister. This couple right here is a mess. So after she annihilates him, they sit down and she's telling him that she's happy he isn't a sore loser. And, he's like, that's because overall I'm winning. Okay. So Lindy said, they've been doing so well that she wouldn't know how to act if things happened between them. And, Miguel was like, well, that's inevitable, So he started saying, would you, ever be in a loveless marriage? Because I'm not the type, even though I'm romantic, to just say that nothing's ever going to happen. So I just want to know. And she's like, well, I feel like you could always work on it. He was like, well, for me, I couldn't do it. Of course, anytime he mentions anything that could mean divorce, Lindy gets upset. Okay? Immediately. But this time I understand her. Because Miguel, what are you even saying? So you're trying to say if you have some hard times in your marriage, you're just going to immediately turn your love off and stop working for it? Like, what are you even talking about? And why are we talking into the future? First, you said you couldn't see past 8 weeks. Then all of a sudden, you're so in love with Lindy after she put that thing on you. Now, all of a sudden, you want to let her know that you can't live in a loveless marriage. Are you in love? Are you not in love? What are you even saying, honey? I just don't understand it. Miguel is playing the what if game. And Miguel, you can't just give up at the first sign of trouble. That's not going to work. Justin and Alexis. So Justin meets with Alexis's friend Will. Hi, Will. To get some advice on Alexis. And so he starts talking about, his dog and how he felt like he gave it up him giving it up was the right thing to do. And he wanted her to be comfortable in her own home. And the one thing that he's worried about is Alexis. Well, guess what? She is still uncomfortable, but this time it's with you. Okay, it's anything attached to you. So you gave up your dog, you don't have your dog, and she's still uncomfortable. But now she's uncomfortable with all things Justin. So did that make any sense? Oh, okay, I didn't think so. Moving forward. So he said he's making changes, but ultimately they want the same thing out of the marriage. So her friend was like, well, yeah, she wants it. Because I've been talking to her and she wants it, but she's just scared. Alexis want what you offer, in a man. You're sweet, you're kind, you're lovable, you're just all that. Listen, he can do anything that he wants, but at the end of the day, if there's no attraction, it ain't happening. Okay? And the friend is just trying to be nice, but he needs to give it to Justin straight, no chaser. The friend is sitting there lying on behalf of Alexis, because Alexis ain't a bit more attracted to this boy than the man in the moon. And we all know it. Okay, the writing is on the wall. So Justin tells him, I just have this fear of women quitting on me because I just feel like they think the grass is greener on the other side, and it's not greener. Justin, I feel so bad for you and your abandonment issues of it all, but I don't want you to just keep trying to make fetch happen. Alexis keeps babying you and barely touching you and giving you just a little bit of rope, and you keep taking it. And it's a whole tug of war, honey, but you're going to be the one that ends up in the mud on decision day. Moving forward. And also, you might be what she needs, but you are definitely not what she wants. 12 days until decision day. So everybody's getting ready to see guest expert Devon Franklin. Oh, okay. Hey, Devon. Mitch and Kristen with a Y. So they meet with Dr. Pepper first. And Kristen tells her about Mitch being an advocate for the environment, but she wants to make sure that they're both comfortable because she's starting to feel guilty even when she gets iced lattes, especially when she has it in a plastic cup. So he was like, well, I want you to do what you want to do. Okay, the marriage is not going to fall apart because you forget your reusable cup. But it will make me proud, if you did honor it. It's always about you. It's not always about you. You know what? Throughout this process, as they like to call it, I've been watching for 15 weeks or whatever episode we on, honey. I've been here from the beginning. And I have seen Mitch from the honeymoon and that initial FaceTime conversation with his brother up until today's date worry about Mitch. What Mitch likes, what Mitch wants, what Kristen can do to appease Mitch. What are you ever going to do? Now, when she confronts you with said problems, you give all the right answers, but your actions suck. Okay, and I'm getting a little bit tired of you always worrying about what's going to happen with Mitch. Now, Mitch, I gave you some grace. Okay, I felt like Mitch is finally coming around. But Mitch, you are very self-absorbed and you do not see your partner. You only care about you, and that is not going to work. So then she was like, well, what about the goals that Kristen had? And so Kristen brings up her dream of flipping houses. And basically Mitch was just saying, flipping houses is a dilemma for him because it takes from the working class being able to afford a home. And I have to say this, I love that he's thinking about the everyday working Joe, but it's also nothing wrong with purchasing for profit with the right intent, okay? She's not your Zillow or your Redfin coming in and buying up the block and then nobody is able to get a home. You're redlining people, making sure that such and such isn't approved. She's not doing that. She simply wants to, fix up a home and sell it for a profit. That would be the same thing as you and her purchasing a home, almost, okay? Don't get me wrong. Purchasing your first home and deciding that it's not your forever home and you sell it and you make a profit from said home. So Mitch, although I understand the intent behind what you're saying, it's the support that's lacking. Maybe if you worded it a different way, look, I'm all down for you pursuing your dreams and whatnot. But it's just something about that, especially when you just see the little people and they're struggling and, interest rates are at an all-time high and these big corporations are buying up the block. And I just want to make sure that, when you do it, you make sure that you're looking out for them or something like that. You could have said anything, but it's just always something. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, I think there's a way to not put everything on Kristen's shoulders. And he said, people may not like someone always telling them consequences of their actions. So, she might not want me. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, can you support who Mitch is? And Kristen was like, I don't really know. Girl, just say no. The answer is no. Just say no like a kid on an after school special being offered something. And y'all know what that something is. Just say no. Like the DARE program. Just say no. 2 drugs, honey. No. The answer is no. No, you cannot support who Mitch is because he's not supporting you. Just say it. Didn't Stephanie just tell you to say it in the moment? I feel like Mitch just needs someone like-minded. And child, he ain't picking up nothing but litter on that beach. You need to pick up one of them women, honey. One of them with dirty feet. It's clear that anything that Kristen does, she's not going to be his person. Kristen needs a more supportive spouse, and Mitch is not that person. But side note, Mitch, pull that beanie up just a tad bit. Honey, it's sitting so far back. Oh, child, I was like, this is a whole fool. So, she was like, she values certain things. And when she meets someone, she focuses on people's positives. But him always being contrary, it really gets to her. And she's like, I'm really affected by the times when you go dark. And so Mitch tells her, listen, no matter what,
And I know you talking about the darkness of it all, but that's not going to go away. I may say it nicer, but it's not going to go away. Okay, pay attention, Kristen. He's telling you right here. I said what I said and I ain't changing it. Okay? I don't want you to get confused. He's telling you straight up and plain. Listen, girl, I might rephrase it, but the jerk in me will still be in me at the end of the day. Moving forward. So he said maybe there's a guy that won't think that way. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, he ain't showed up yet. Yeah, because your production team showed up first, probably all up in her DMs recruiting her. And now she over here with a fool that cannot accept who she is. So Dr. Pepper is basically just trying to keep them together, honey, by any means necessary. You know how they like to do. So she's like, well, I'm ready to let my walls down and just go all in. I told you my issues and you answered, and I feel like it was great. This is a mess. This is a mess. So Mitch asks if Kristen had the same standards for decision day because, they haven't said I love you. And she was like, listen, after we got over the initial shock of you not being attracted to me and we've made such progress, I'm on the same page as you, okay, as far as decision day is concerned. And I don't need an I love you, but just be open to more. These two really confuse me because I feel like they could really be great, but Mitch is so hot and cold, and it appears he's listening and he responds well, but I feel like he's just listening to respond. Moving forward. Stasha and Nate. So they go to meet Pastor Cal, and honey, y'all know Stasha lights up when she sees Calvin. Stasha loves us and Pastor Cal. So Pastor Cal was like, well, the streets were talking, honey, and we heard everything that's been going on. And some of the things were embarrassing. And they were like, embarrassing? What you mean? He said, like the sex toys. Here go, Nate. Oh, you ain't a freak? Nate. Oh, my gosh. Nate, that is the pastor. Boy, what is wrong with you?
Child, you can't take Nate nowhere, honey. You can take the day trader out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of the day trader. Child, this is a whole fool. So Pastor Cal was like, wait a minute, because they had stumped him when Nate asked if he was a freak. So he was like, what? Well, okay, child, y'all trying to fog up his glasses. He said, last time I saw you guys, you had not had sex. And since then, honey, the sky's the limit. Yeah, it was giving Skinamax. It was giving no boundaries. So he asked where they are in regards to love, and it's been 5 weeks. Please don't ask people about love, but go ahead and ask them, child, because we know that's what y'all like to do. Stasha was like, well, I feel like I love him, and I've been telling him that. And so Nate said that he hasn't said it because he just hasn't gotten there yet, but he admires her and he tells her that. Stasha was waiting for that I love you when she was sitting in that seat. She was hoping that Pastor Cal could coerce Nate into saying I love you. Stasha, it doesn't work that way. He said, admiration ties into love. That's how I feel. And I thought that was a very good answer. So Pastor Cal was asking him if he's ever tried to stop himself from saying I love you when he almost said it. And he said, yeah, he has. It's out of fear of getting hurt. I don't know if I buy that. I really don't. So Pastor Cal asked if it's from his history and had he ever been cheated on. And he was like, no, I don't think so. Oh, okay, well, let's rephrase the question. Have you ever cheated? Okay, that's what I would have asked him. And he ain't fooling me. So Stasha then reveals that she has cheated, but it was 10 plus years ago. Baby, the look on Nate's face when she said she had cheated 10 plus years ago. Nate said, well, I'm a little disappointed because, I just see Stasha a certain way and I see her as a really great woman, and cheating is not a really great thing. A side note. Okay, this has absolutely nothing to do with nothing. That hat and that jacket makes Nate look like Freddy Krueger. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was giving Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Honey, as soon as I looked at him, I was like, what is happening, honey? These hats on this episode, child. It was all about the hats. But anywho, that's neither here nor there. That's just a side note. So Stasha feels like, she can't share because she feels like he's going to judge her. I say this, honey, it was 10 years ago. Now, see, me personally, I wouldn't have said nothing. Okay, you wouldn't have got it out of me. Have you cheated before? Absolutely not, honey. You call me a liar, honey. Call me Morgan. Hey, girl, because I'm not telling you because I just don't feel like right now on this camera is the thing for us to talk about right now. And Pastor Calvin, how is this helpful? How? And Nate, you mean to tell me that you were only a freak in the sheets with one woman at a time? Yeah, right. I feel like you have some skeletons in the closet as well. But, to play devil's advocate for just a moment. Now, y'all, if this were a man, if this were the husband in the relationship, and we heard that he cheated 10 plus years ago, Stasha's what? 37, 38?
So she was 28 at the time, almost 30, and she cheated. If we heard that, would we be screaming, well, once a cheater, always a cheater? So I'm just trying to give him a little bit of grace. But Nate, I feel like you being hypocritical. Because if we pull the skeletons out of your closets, I'm sure that you've cheated sometime, before you met Stasha. And you ain't fooling me. Moving forward. And also, she didn't cheat on you, Nate. Okay? You're going to be fine. Lindy and Miguel. It's another Stephanie, and this time it's Lindy's friend, and she's meeting with Miguel. And so he was like, well, give me all the dirt on Lindy. Give me all the dirt on Lindy. So she's like, well, one thing, she gets hangry. Girl, cut the surface level crap. If she's hangry, then grab a Snickers. We want to know the real deal. Like, what is wrong with her? Is there a screw loose? Honey, should he sleep with one eye open? This is what we need to know. Like, ain't nobody got time to be worried about if she's hangry. And she really doesn't have any time to be hangry with Miguel, honey, because he gonna make sure he feed Lindy. If it ain't one thing they gonna do when they open up an episode, Miguel gonna be feeding Lindy. And that's just that on that. So he brings up the baby and, them having the little mock baby and whatnot, and her going from 0 to 100. And her friend was like, yeah, she gets really defensive. So he was like, well, I mean, you should not be so easily triggered all the time. She's easily to be triggered. And she's quick to be negative. And he's like, I want her to work through that so we don't have those problems, because I don't want her to get so negative. And her friend is like, yeah, that's what she does. So, basically he was saying he didn't want to feel like he has to censor himself. It's not a full deal breaker, but it could push him over the edge. Why not tell her that, Miguel? Why not tell her that? Because when y'all are together, you make it seem like it's perfect. Then when you say something, finally, she spazzes out. So you need to be saying it constantly, so that she's aware. Alexis and Justin. So they meet with Devon. Child, he jumps right in and asks about the club. So he asks, what does Alexis feel when she's in the club? She's like, I feel free, because I'm so restricted at work. I just want to let my hair down. I just want to have a good time. So then he asks how she feels in the marriage. And she was like, I feel smothered. Of course, Justin was like, well, I don't like that. I mean, it's hurtful because I don't want her to feel smothered. So Devon asked her, what would she need in the marriage to feel less smothered? And she was like, well, us to do things together, travel, go hiking, do extreme sports. He's like, okay, Justin, do you like to hike? He said, yeah. Do you like to travel? Yes. Extreme sports? He said, yes. When I tell y'all the way she was looking like, dang, I should have said something else. Oh, child. Alexis's face gives away everything. Every time Justin speaks, she seems disgusted. Is it just me, or have y'all caught on to that? Every time he speaks, she just seems like her skin wants to crawl. So Devon tells Justin and Alexis that, they need to find we time when the two of them can get together. So then he asked Justin if there's anything wrong with Alexis feeling free. He was like, no. He said, okay, there's no problem with the feelings. So is there a problem with the feelings that she gets from the club? He said, well, I'm fearing that I might lose her. So they both like that answer. They like the fact that he was being honest and real and vulnerable, right? So Devon tells him, he's like, well, you're never going to have a happy marriage if you control who she talks to. Right now it's the club. Next it's the gym. Then it's the church. Okay, sir. Skirt. Slow down, low down. I am pretty sure he's not going to restrict her from the Lord's house. I think she'll be fine, but she ain't going in the church. That's the problem. She going to the club. I don't feel like not wanting your spouse in single spaces is controlling. It's every weekend, okay? And y'all can believe that 2-hour thing if you want to. I ain't never went in a club and my song came on and I gave them 2 hours. It ain't gonna happen. Because once one song come on, then the other beat drop. Every time the beat drop. Baby, if the beat's dropping, I'm there. When Cash Money takes over for the 99 and the 2000, I'm on the dance floor. And I'm not leaving. So y'all can believe this 2-hour thing that she's trying to spin. And it would be different if she said, every weekend, me and my sisters or me and my friends, we have a standing brunch appointment. I allocate 2 hours to them and the rest of the weekend is for my man. While I'm doing that, he's out playing basketball or he's out playing golf or he's at home or whatever. That's different. In the club, Destiny's Child said it best. Ladies, leave your man at home. The club is full of ballers and their pockets full grown. Leave your man at home. Oh, child. Oh, honey. Destiny's Child, I already told y'all, honey. I'm not about to let y'all worry me.
I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that, honey. It's every weekend. The club is a place that single people gather, okay? Yes, some married people go to the club, honey, before y'all get down in the comments and be like, well, there be people in the... Yes, married people go to the club as well. I mean, you shouldn't, but some of them do. But majority of the people in there, they're single. So that's a very valid fear. To think about your woman looking her best, giving all her zhuzh, because Alexis is a fine woman. Okay, now she gets on my nerves, but she got body for days. She's a very beautiful woman, so I can believe that she's putting it all out there when she goes out. So I don't blame him for not wanting his woman in the club every weekend. So after that, we see him in the confessional, and he's like, I discovered I'm controlling. Child, the way Devon has somehow now made this all Justin's fault is beyond me. Listen, I don't know if y'all liked him, but honey, for me, less Devon, more Dr. Pia. Moving forward. So Alexis has no issue feeling safe in this session, honey, because Devon is on her side. Devon, this isn't Megan, okay? This isn't Megan Good going to the club for appearances. She's leaving her man behind every weekend to go to the club when she should be getting to know him. They only have 8 weeks. That's what y'all are not understanding. Well, you're not understanding because Dr. Pia saw straight through him, honey, and they weren't fooling her. But they only have 8 weeks. So then he asked about the sex. She was like, I knew this was coming. Child, she was happy to talk about that after Devon labeled Justin controlling. Ugh. So she said, they haven't had sex because she wants to be dominated in the bedroom. And he's like, I am dominant. Justin, the most dominant thing in your life are those turtlenecks, okay? Ain't a dang thing dominant about you. Now, don't get me wrong. Alexis is making excuses for not sexing that man, and she's not fooling me. But ain't nothing about you dominant. Not nothing. And dang on well, you don't want Justin touching you. You've been lit up like a Christmas tree on Rockefeller Center ever since you laid eyes on Devon. And you trying to tell me that you want him to be a little bit more demanding in the bed and that's going to get you to drop? Girl, goodbye. Girl, gone. So he was like, every time I try, I just get turned off because I feel like the energy is not being returned. It's not there. So Devon definitely said that he could relate to that. And what she wants is confidence. So she was like, yeah, in her confessional, I really want to consummate before decision day. And girl, stop playing with me. So he tells them they need to try to fix things within themselves and blah, 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 blah. Baby, Alexis would have made Tyra proud. All that smizing she was doing at Devon. Baby, this was a whole fool. Morgan and Ben. Oh, child. So they meet with Dr. Pepper, honey. We know they didn't ride together. So Dr. Pepper starts by asking what part of a relationship brings out the best in Morgan. And she said, with the right person, my softer side comes out. Oh, okay. So Ben definitely is not it, honey, because you have been hard as a bed of nails ever since you encountered Ben. So we already know that the two of you are not on the same page. So Dr. Pepper then tells Ben some of what he did was very judgmental and, distrusting, especially about her being a nurse. Well, baby, what'd she say that for? Here comes Petty Betty. So she's like, wait a minute, hold on. Let me hop on the Googler, okay, because I wanted to show you guys this. So she pulls up her license and she was like, can y'all zoom the camera in? Okay, I didn't have to find this anywhere. This is a Googleable license. Morgan, at this point, we don't care about your career, honey. We don't give a damn. It's the character and the way that you've been treating this man. I don't care about you being a nurse. That was 17 episodes ago. I really don't care, honey. You can wear your nasty scrubs inside. You can twirl around and drop down into a full split. I would not care. I don't like the way that you have treated Ben. Point blank in the period. And I ain't see your name on it. Yeah, look, I'm just as petty as she is. I ain't see your name on it. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, I mean, he's been very apologetic and I feel like he's very sorry about it. She was like, well, I just find that hard to believe because he's never come to me and apologized on his own. It's always been prompted, I feel like I haven't gotten the remorseful, I'm sorry. Morgan, y'all literally shared a moment at the table and he told you about his childhood and he apologized profusely. You are a liar. Period. A liar. Moving forward. So then Ben reveals that he was raised in a house where his emotions were, stifled. So he ran away from the emotions that he was having as was concerned and kind of vented to Justin because of that. Ben done diagnosed himself all the way up and through this season. Do you hear me? Poor Ben. I don't like the fact that I feel like he left more damaged than when he arrived. Ben had a spark in his eye when we first met him. When he was searching for those coins through that couch cushion, you couldn't tell me that he didn't have that ting
when you saw him smile? I have not seen Ben smile since. Morgan, you should be ashamed of yourself. So she asked if Ben will get back to a happy place where, he could be happy. And he said, I don't know. So then she asked Morgan, when was she happy? She was like, well, we did have a solid friendship for a while. When did you have a solid friendship? The day you walked down the aisle? You've been fussing with him from the honeymoon on. So Dr. Pepper asked if it could be reconstructed. And she said, for me, no. So Dr. Pepper said, well, this can be your decision day. Do you want to continue the marriage? And she said, no, I want a divorce because I can't trust him. So then she asked Ben, and he said he also wanted a divorce because he wanted to work on himself. Ben, I know you said you're the first person in your family to get divorced. You're already not a doctor. Stop putting all that pressure on yourself, okay? You're an engineer. Do you know how smart you have to be an engineer? You're fine, okay? And anybody that doesn't think you're fine, then that's on them, okay? And as far as you getting a divorce, honey, please, you may see this as a failure, but this is the biggest win of the year. You didn't deserve the mistreatment. And to be fair to yourself, okay, to be fair to you, I would count this as a bad blind date. Okay, it hardly constitutes as a marriage. Because, y'all were in the same space for all of 24 hours. But I'm so happy that they let Ben out of this death row contract. I don't know what to do, honey. Goodbye and good riddance. Moving forward, Kristen and Mitch. So they're eating. Y'all know how they like to do. Talking about Mitch's belief in the house flipping thing, and she thanked him for coming around. You know how she does. She gets upset. He says a little something. She thanks him for being a jerk. That's basically how their relationship works. So she tells him living with him doesn't feel as extreme as she thought it would. He said, oh, it will get more extreme. I'm sure it will. That house was extremely nasty. So I'm sure it's going to get very extreme. The whole time she's talking, he's slurping these noodles like he's about to walk the Green Mile. Slow down, Itchy Mitchy. Why are you eating those noodles this way? I feel like you were trying to poke at Krysten. You are very childish. Because I hate that noise. I don't like mouth noises. I don't want to hear you smacking on your food. I don't like mukbangs or mukbangs or whatever they call them, honey. I don't like that. So for him to just sit here and constantly slurp, child, I had to take a refreshing beverage break. Always Coca-Cola. Moving forward. Oh, child. Mitch got a whole lot of rules to be disgusted. So she's like, well, have you always eaten like this and I just never noticed? And girl, y'all need y'all decision day today as well. Okay, because it would definitely be a no for me. So then he was like, well, I just want to tell Krysten, this is what he's saying in his confessional. I don't want to rock the boat, but I just want to tell her that I like her more natural. Mitch, she only has on eyeliner. Go away. Okay, go away. You're giving moron. Stasha and Nate. So he's meeting with her family and her friends, and he's telling them, how he judged Stasha about cheating. Now, what if her friends and family didn't know she was a cheater? Nate. And he's like, I've only known her 5 weeks. So when I hear that, that's not so positive. My algorithm kicks in. Your algorithm? Sir, you need a social media break. Okay, you're starting to speak in Twitter. You're starting to speak in TikTok. What are you talking about, your algorithm? Well, goodbye. So they asked if they've said, I love you. And he said, Stasha has, but he hasn't. He was like, I feel like my love for her is growing. So her friends are like, if he doesn't say it, then he won't get the best part of Stasha. She's going to pull away. He's going to say it in his own time. Okay? That's a serious thing. He ain't going to say it because y'all tell him to say it. He ain't going to say it because she tell him to say it. He ain't going to say it till he's ready to say it. 11 days until decision day. So Stasha meets with Nate's friends. So his friend said, yeah, we talked to him and he's happy as hell. Here goes Stasha. Well, speaking of happiness, we were talking to Pastor Cal and he said that he, really admires me and he loves things about me or whatever. But why hasn't he said I love you? So his friend George was like, well, he's never said that he's loved anyone. He's never been in love. But with Stasha, he's never been challenged like this before. And he has to know that she's his everything in order to say, I love you. So she was like, well, when I try to tell him something, he won't listen and he won't listen to the experts either. So his friend is like, well, I feel like he wants to build his own path. Well, honey, we know he don't do traditional. Okay, the day trading tells you that. So Stasha was like, well, I'm just trying to figure out why. Stasha, listen, I love you doesn't mean forever. So please stop it. Stop. It will come when it comes. But he needs to stop telling you he's falling in love with you too. Okay, because that's the second time he done said that, but then nothing follows. You're not falling in love with her if you're not in love with her. Stop it, Nate. You and your baby braids. Moving forward. Lindy and Miguel. Oh my God. Why is Lindy wearing this hat looking like Spinelli from Recess? Lindy, take this hat off.
Lindy looked crazy as hell. Let me tell y'all something. We are going to have a live tomorrow night, Thursday night, okay, because by the time you listen to this review, it will be Thursday. Tonight at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I will have the split screen of Lindy and Spinelli. And y'all tell me there's not an uncanny resemblance. Child is a whole fool. So Lindy said Miguel had to take the baby because she was stressed. So Miguel was like, Lindy's too negative, and we need to address that. So Pastor Cal asked if he's seen the worst in Lindy. And she's like, no, that's me at a 4.5 in anger. Does that scare you? And she starts laughing. Lindy is nuts. Okay, I would sleep with one eye open. I'm sorry, I just would have to do it. So Pastor Cal is like, well, how many times have you been at a 10? She's like, only twice in my life. So then Pastor Cal gonna look at Miguel and say, see, this is her norm. Don't be scared, okay? It's only been twice. Child, Lindy lying. She about to be on a 10 next episode. So Pastor Cal asked Miguel if he could deal with her norm. I don't know why Lindy thinks it's so funny to constantly say, you haven't seen how crazy I can get. That's not cute. I know you think that it is, but it's not. Miguel may say no to Lindy after thinking about how Lindy behaves. Like nobody wants to deal with that. And then you'll see Surviving Lindy next Wednesday on Lifetime. It's all or nothing. Oh, child, I try to be so serious. Oh, honey. That's what y'all come here for, honey. The foolishness. So let's continue to get into it. Kristen and Mitch. Mitch FaceTimes Kristen's sister, right? So he's asking her for insight, and she asks if he's worked through his expectations because, she was not what he expected. And he's like, no matter who walked down the aisle, I would have been the same way. Everybody except their mother. So he said that he expected a super beachy woman, kind of, hippie and chic. And what do you think she expected? A man with a hairline, a man without a Band-Aid, a man without an attitude. What do you think she expected? Okay? Because you are looking how you looking, and you're not everybody's cup of tea either. So then this idiot brings up Kristen's looks yet again. He said, I just want to know, when we're at home, that's when I feel like I'm most attracted to her. Sweatpants, hair tied, chilling with no makeup on. That's when she's the prettiest. I hope that she don't take it wrong. Shout out to Drake. It works for Drake to say it. It doesn't work for Mitch, okay? Mitch, you're no Drake, okay? You're no Drizzy. So for me, you don't need to be worried about how she's looking. You need to worry about how you're looking. So he's like, how can I say that, when she's with me? I just don't want her to wear so much makeup. This is when her sister shined. Do y'all hear me? She was the best part of this episode. She said, well, the makeup isn't for you. She said she's presenting how she feels best, and because of how you did her in the beginning on the honeymoon, she's been insecure, trying to figure out if you like her. So my advice to her, okay, is for her to figure out if she likes you or if you're the person for her. I know that's right, honey, and that's on period. Moving forward. Oh, and Mitch, you didn't want to wear a t-shirt. You didn't want nobody telling you what to wear. You don't want to wear a t-shirt for a prank, but you want to tell her how to make her face up every day. A boy gone. In the next scene, everybody's at the pool, and Ben was like, yeah, me and Morgan, we're not on speaking terms. Child, count your blessings. He's like, but I really want to be friends at the end of this. Child, old mean mug and Morgan, she isn't it. Trust me, you got away scot-free. So Krysten is sitting there talking to Morgan about how things are going, right? And Krysten tells us in the confessional that her sister called her right before they came down and told her that Mitch is still trying to figure out how to get Krysten to wear less makeup. She's like, the process is happening. We've made progress. And he's still saying things like that. Like, that's just not cool. So then they all sit around, right? And they're asking if the experts visited Morgan and Ben. So Morgan is all happy. She's like, yep. And today was our decision day. This is our last day here. Ben isn't the man for me. He wasn't man enough for me. Shout out to Tony Braxton. Child, he don't want to be with you no way. Girl, goodbye. Morgan, please get off my screen, honey. I've heard enough of you talking down to Ben or about Ben. Go away, okay? She's like, but I'm going to miss all of you, and they ain't going to miss you. So Ben was like, I feel the same way that she feels. And she's like, yeah, Dr. Pepper asked if I could ever be friends with him, but for me, it's a no. Okay.
You just had to get one last dig in. We don't care, baby. I don't know why he would want to be your friend anyway. You kick your friends in the mouth. Okay? They have to have dental work after being friends with you. So if that's the type of friend that you are, I think he'll pass. He's going to be so much more happier with the toxicity out of his life. He will be fine. Moving forward. So everyone is talking about their visit. And so then they go over to Justin and Alexis. And as soon as he starts to speak, child, she starts rolling her eyes. It's something about group settings. It's like she don't mind showing her affection or whatever to him when they're alone. But as soon as they get with the group, she gets annoyed. So Justin starts talking about the intimacy. And y'all know what I think it is? I think that it's the comparison. I think when she hears everyone else's relationship, issues or the progress or whatever it is that they're going through or how they're progressing, she gets upset because she knows that her and Justin are not in that place. I just had that epiphany. But anywho, let's continue to get into it. So Justin starts talking about the intimacy and how Alexis wants him to be more dominant in the bedroom. And he doesn't mind it, and Mitch was like, yeah, I guess you just want her to welcome it. He's like, yeah, not so much welcome it. I just want to know that she wants it. So you want her to welcome it. Ugh, oh my God. So she's like, yeah, I just need that energy. So Miguel was like, well, are y'all still in love? He said, of course. I'm sure y'all not in love. He said, I'm just confused about decision day. So Alexis feels like she's giving him the patience that he needs, decision day or not. That's code for, I'm about to say no. Okay, so don't get too comfortable. So then they go on over to Kristen and Mitch, baby. So they start talking about the meeting with Dr. Pepper and what their issues were and how they hashed them out when they met with her, right? So they're about to get into it, but not before Alexis gets the mess started. She's like, well, you know what? I'm so glad that, y'all were able to see past the things, especially you, Mitch, with the whole makeup thing. And, you didn't like her appearance. And I'm glad you didn't let the appearance thing get in the way of your marriage. Now, at first I was like, well, they're just having open conversations and, everybody's speaking. But then I thought about it. Kristen met with Alexis, just Alexis, to get her advice on what to do as it pertains to Mitch. I do not feel like that was something for the entire group. Okay? So for you, Alexis, to sit and say out loud, because clearly nobody else knew except your pillow buddy over there. Nobody else knew that this was even said. So they go to Mitch and Kristen is like, well, do you feel like you're, over those things? And all of a sudden he's like, did I say those things? Did I do that? Yes, Steve Urkel, you did. And you said it. And you said it again a few hours ago. So Justin is like, yeah, you did say it. So Kristen goes, so you've never said that? Everybody's like, I've never heard that. Because she told it strictly to Alexis. That's why y'all ain't never heard it. So Justin is like, oh, well, I heard it. Sir, shut up. Shut up. I'm sure you did hear because Alexis told you. So Kristen said, so did you say that? He's like, well, I did say it, but I didn't want to sound controlling. I don't know where I am now with it. And he was like, we talked about it with Dr. Pepper and hopefully we're on the same page as far as decision day is concerned. So Kristen said, I feel like we're both undecided. And now I'm trying to figure out if you're who I want. Baby. So Nate gonna whisper to Stasha, I don't think they're going to make it. Here goes Stasha. That's a no. It ain't just a no. It's a hell no. Moving forward. So as they're talking, in walks Dr. Pepper, Devon, and Pastor Calvin. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, we've been listening. And we feel like, because one of the couples didn't make it, the other 4 couples, y'all are pushing through. And we feel like finding the truth is what you guys need. So Devon was like, Alexis, I was listening to you. Could you make it easier when it comes to intimacy with him? Child, I'm trying to figure out if Devon has some problems with intimacy with Megan Good, honey, because he surely is relating to Justin quite a bit. Baby, let me find out. We'll talk about it on the live. But y'all, let's get back into it. So, she loves when he talks to her, child. She don't care what he asking. She gonna smile and she gonna talk. So she was like, yeah, the answer is yeah. Because he came to me this morning. He was asking for help. And, I told him he just needs to work a little bit more because he's only tried the one night and everything's going to be fine. Girl, anyway. So Devon told Justin, life is telling you to step up. Not just in the bedroom, but, in every area of your life. Now, I did appreciate that because I feel like Justin did need that. I feel like his confidence level is not where it should be. And this advice could take him further than just trying to lay down with Alexis. So he's like, I'm just not used to it. This is what he's saying, when him and Alexis are in the little interview. And she's like, just try it, baby. He said, well, I'm going to go like the Tasmanian devil, teeth and all. Ew. Gross. Okay? And please don't put your teeth, child. Oh my goodness, child. That's for an after dark, honey. Please don't put your teeth where your teeth aren't supposed to be, child. Keep your teeth in your mouth. Moving forward. So then Dr. Pepper asked Kristen and Mitch, did something happen? Because she was listening to them and she was like, did something happen? She said, well, after talking to my sister, I found out that Mitch is not over his unattractiveness when it comes to me. It's setting me back. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, what did you say exactly, Mitch? So he started stuttering and he's like, well, I asked her sister how I will go about asking her to wear less makeup. The lady isn't giving RuPaul's Drag Race, honey. It's very subtle. I do not know what you want. So Dr. Pepper is like, so you think she's beautiful, right? You're very attracted to her, right? He said, I'm attracted to her. Mitch, how dare you? You live in a place that reeks of mouse droppings and environmentally friendly roaches. Okay? Your attitude is awful. And one could question your hairline and your attractiveness. Okay? I don't like the way you're embarrassing Kristen. I don't like it. Okay? So he's like, well, I mean, you're putting me on the spot. I mean, is this how you're supposed to do this? She's like, well, I asked you that because I thought you were going to give me a definite answer. And I thought your attraction had grown. If I knew that you were going to give that answer, I would not have asked you. Like, am I wrong? So he's like, clearly there's been some conversations being had. Kristen is like, this is not a secret conversation. Okay. I spoke to my sister before I got here and she told me exactly what you said. So Dr. Pepper is like, well, I can tell that you're upset. She's like, yes, I am, Dr. Pepper. This is horrible. Who wouldn't be embarrassed and upset? So in the confessional, she was like, it was a moment to get to know me. And he took it to find out how he could change me. And what is he going to do this time? Try to talk his way out of it and then everything's going to be fine? So Dr. Pepper going to say, okay, well, I fully support you. And I think it's a conversation that you can get through and you'll find that there's enough attraction if you talk it over, baby. Kristen said, listen, I'm Kanye and you're Taylor Swift, so I'm going to stop you right there. I'm going to let you finish, but that ain't going to work for me. I am not going to accept somebody being attracted to me just enough. When I came into this, I was a whole woman, fully confident in my capabilities and my beauty. But now since being with him, I'm questioning everything. I want somebody that will be fully accepting of me, makeup and all. I'm tired of him and I'm done. I know that's right, honey. And dropped the mic. She said, well, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry about it. She said, Kristen said, no, Dr. Pepper, I don't need you to apologize to me. I need him to. Oh no, but Kristen, you do need them because they matched you with him. So all three of them standing there looking like deer in headlights. Devon, I'm gonna kind of count you out a little bit because I don't know where you came from and when you came into the scene. But Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, y'all knew dang on well that Mitch and Kristen were incompatible. You knew that. That's why y'all standing there on side. Moving forward. Who in their right mind wants to just accept that he's attracted enough? I'm happy she didn't let them blow smoke up her butt. I am happy that she stopped Dr. Pepper. But Kristen, what I want you to do is keep that same energy when y'all get along, because you'll say this, but then you'll forgive him and then you'll apologize to him and then you will praise him for being accepting of you blowing up. It doesn't work like that. So he's like, well, I'm kind of blindsided by this. Kristen is like, come on, dude, quit playing in my face. Is anybody else surprised by this? Well, child, the experts are surprised if ain't nobody else surprised. I am so satisfied with the way that Kristen spoke up for herself in that moment. Had Dr. Peppers continued to talk, she would have tried to convince them to continue for her to continue to just settle for any old thing. And baby, she had her stumped. Poor Devon was looking like, wow, all this on my first day on the job? Devon, welcome to Married at First Sight, honey. Ooh, child. So then Alexis and Justin in the interview, they up there offering their 2 cents. He's like, yeah, he wants a hippie from Boulder, Colorado with dirty feet. She's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't want half attraction. If somebody asks you if you were attracted to me and if I'm fine, you said, well, I mean, she's all right. Oh, no, that wouldn't work for me. Well, what about if they asked you if you were attracted to Justin? Because you're not. Okay. What about that? Okay. These two right here, they thrive on other people's drama. That's the only time y'all get close, when y'all are looking at everybody else and talking. And then Pastor Cal said, you all were matched because you had one thing in common. You said you wanted to be married. And the time to work on things is now. No, sir. No, sir. We are not going to work through a man telling me he ain't attracted to me. I don't want to keep hearing that every time I turn around. If I want to get my zhuzh and get myself together and step out, then I'm going to get my zhuzh and get myself together and step out. And I don't want to hear a damn thing about it. Okay? So no, we're not going to work through that. That's not going to work. Now, there's a lot of things that you can work through, but him being attracted to her is not one of them. And her being barefaced every single day, even if she does, he's still going to find something else to pick on. So no. And that was the end of the episode. Y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. This episode gave a little something, and then it really didn't give nothing. I don't know. It was very confusing. I was entertained, yet I was bored. Anywho, we are going to get together tonight, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, so we can get into it as we get into it. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.